British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is in the dock amid a public health crisis, a series of strikes by industry workers and huge shortcomings in the NHS. All this comes amid a cost of living crisis with visible failure on Sunak over bringing in corrections. Indications have emerged of Sunak himself using private healthcare and not the National Health Service. The opposition says the Prime Minister is out of touch with the people. On being questioned on the matter, Sunak reportedly replied that his own healthcare was not really relevant. Reports say the West London clinic used by Sunak's family charges £250 for a half-hour consultation. The opposition accuses him of being out of touch with the millions of ordinary people struggling for health services. It's not the first time this disconnect has been pointed out. During a hospital visit in October last year, an aged patient had asked Croydon to be more connected with ground needs.
They've looked after you really nicely.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah.
It's a pity you don't pay them more.
Well, we are trying. We are trying.
No, you're not trying. You need to try harder.
Right, I will take that away. Yeah. No, well, they are a very nice team there, aren't they?
They are, but it's important because they do very hard.
But you work in business?
Another media embarrassment was Sunak asking a homeless man, "Are you in business?" The incident that was filmed happened in December last year. Nicholas Nugent is a senior journalist and former BBC editor. He is joining us live from London. Nicholas, welcome to the programme. Let me ask you plainly, what do you make of claims that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has lost touch with the people?
Well, I think that's a difficult claim to make. After all, he's a member of Parliament, elected by his constituents, quite a popular figure by all accounts, especially in his constituency in Yorkshire. Of course, he has his Achilles heel. He is very wealthy, and that can be seen as a weakness. The fact that he's wealthy means that, like many Britons, he's opted to go for private medicine rather than depending on the National Health Service. But that itself doesn't seem to be a black mark against him. I think the real test is his ability to solve Britain's problems. And Britain's number one problem at the moment is industrial relations. Indeed, the number of strikes we've got across industry. The problem for him is that the biggest strike, or the main strikes, affect public service. So ultimately, the government is responsible for paying nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, ambulance drivers, and indeed teachers, who are likely to be the next ones to come out on strike. So he's taken a very firm view about that the mechanism in place should be what is used to judge their remuneration. But that's not entirely working because, as you indicated, we also have a cost of living crisis. Prices have gone up a lot in recent months.
Right.
Now, I always saw a combination of these two things, the economy and industrial relations, as the first big test for the new Prime Minister.
Nicholas, don't you think this is a lot for the Prime Minister because he has a lot in his basket to deal with? How is he going to juggle all this up and, help Britain move forward?
Well, we're waiting to see, aren't we? I was going to say he passed his first big test with the budget announcement in November. Actually, Jeremy Hunt made the announcement, but it was very much a Rishi Sunak budget. And he came out of that glowing. And I tell you why. Because it was so much more successful than his two immediate predecessors, Liz Truss and Boris Johnson. So he passed the first test. Now I think he's well into the second test about whether he can solve industrial relations. He's taken a very firm line so far. He's not given much away, and the strikes are getting worse. There was a mood of enthusiasm over the weekend that he was giving way slightly in terms of talks with the healthcare workers.
Right.
And that was disappointed yesterday. It really is a day-by-day business as to how well he's done. But he has everything to lose and everything to gain. After all, the Conservative Party that he leads is way behind in the opinion polls. If we had an election tomorrow, they would be out. So he's got a lot of climbing to do if he's got to have any hope of winning the next election, which is likely to be in 2 years' time. And as I say, the main challenge at the moment is industrial relations. Your reporter gave us a sort of blow-by-blow account of it, but I'm looking in a rather longer time scale. And also, it's important to see where public opinion lies. Public opinion on the whole backs the healthcare workers. It's much less sympathetic to the railway workers. So we watch those things with interest to see whether the prospects of Rishi Sunak lasting for the next 2 years are enhanced. I rather suspect they will be, but he has yet to cross the bridge. He has yet to deliver on number one crisis at the moment, which is industrial relations.
All right. I've been talking to a senior journalist and former BBC editor, Nicholas Nugent. Nicholas, thank you very much for giving WION time today. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.